Hello, my name's Glenn Friedman. I'm the CEO of Prager Medicine International, and you're inside the C-suite, the journey. And I'm joined today by Bobby Hotaling, CEO of Hotaling Insurance Services. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing great, Glenn. How are you?
Pretty good. Long time no see. All right.
You're right.
Yeah, everybody understands Bobby's not just a pretty face. He happens to be a good friend and somebody I admire in many aspects. He's a charitable guy and he's also a smart guy. So Bobby, we like to sort of talk a little bit about folks and where they were and how they got here. Tell me a little bit about Bobby growing up. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up on Long Island with a single mom and a brother and two sisters.
Brother and two sisters, and what do you have, like 7, 8 bathrooms, and you're talking like the Hamptons, or
Yeah, it was
what?
close to that, but just like the outhouse of a Hampton house. Actually, I was speaking to my brother this morning, and we were laughing on the way to the office that we shared a room that we didn't realize how the beds actually fit in there, because that's all they were two beds with nowhere to move.
There you go. All right. So my earlier years weren't much different than your early years. So part of this segment is I really like to let younger people understand that it's not really where you begin, it's where you finish, right? So today, talk to me a little bit about your lifestyle today.
Oh, I have an addiction. It's called work, and my preference is insurance. I literally work nonstop, but I've come to build to where I can have the finer things in life now. That someday I hope to be like you and be able to enjoy some of my life as opposed to working through my whole life. But I live in Manhattan, and I have a house in the Hamptons now.
That's fantastic. How did you get into insurance?
I got into insurance in my early 30s, and I had a friend of mine who had retired when he was 33, 34 years old in the insurance business. And I said, you know what, I got to see what this is all about. And I started getting into it a little at a time, and here we are, close to 25 years later, and we're over 100 employees.
100 employees in how many locations, Bobby?
So right now we're in Miami, Houston, Manhattan, Melville, Long Island, and Poughkeepsie, New York. Ready to open up Boston soon, as well as probably Fort Lauderdale.
Good for you. And how many states do you think you service?
We're licensed right now in 44 states.
44 states. And I can honestly tell you folks that, being a good friend and a business person that likes to network and refer business back and forth, I've tried to introduce Bobby to many people. The problem is he's always gotten there before me. And it could be anywhere. It could be in Miami, it could be in LA, wherever I meet somebody, I say, I really have somebody that can add value and solve some of your risk management issues. This guy, Bobby, telling, and they're like, I know Bobby. It's an incredibly fascinating story because Bobby really is in the marketplace and he does know a lot of people. How did you get there, Bobby?
You know what, Glenn? It's funny you asked that question because I ask myself the same question sometimes. And I say, could I do this all over again? How did I get here? And it's intriguing sometimes. I don't know. It's just from, I guess, doing the same thing over and over. I kind of relate myself to the Broadway show Lion King. You familiar with Lion King?
Sure.
So I always tell everyone, I'm like Lion King. I've been around for 25 years, and the show never changes, only the people. So the audience always changes, but the show is always the same. And I never really deviate too much on what I do. I do one thing. I do insurance. I built my business on principles and integrity. And at the end of the day, I don't make any money on anything I don't do in the world of insurance. And I felt if I could refer and build other people's business, I'd become very valuable to them. And everyone knows me in the world of insurance, and I would hope that more than don't know me as a man of integrity. On what I do is, what I tell people I'm going to do, I do it for the better or the worse. If I make a deal and shake your hand, it's better than any contract I've ever written.
That's fantastic. And I would say that I've been doing this podcast for I don't know, a couple of months now. And the CEOs that have sat in the chair you're sitting in, it really is always about the people, the relationships, and the integrity. I've yet to meet anybody that doesn't hold those things dear. But talk to me a little bit about the people that work for you and how important they are.
Well, in our business, I look at the insurance as a commodity and the people as the real asset of the company. At the end of the day, I can tell you whatever I'm going to tell you I want to do, but unless I have my people doing what I'm promising and presenting to the people I deal with, I'm nothing, right? It's very hard to get a client, and it's very easy to lose a client. So it's really my thing is to go out and get the best of the best. So I recruit a lot of my people through some of the biggest insurance companies in the country. A lot of them are international. So I'll go out and get the person who ran Marsh's private client, and I'll bring her in and have her run my private client. I'll go to some of the bigger companies out there, and I'll get the top people and give them the opportunity to really be an entrepreneur and come into my end of the business and grow a smaller business in retrospect. And I always say it's about the people, about the people, about the people.
So you are the orchestra leader, huh? And putting people in the right places to do the best they can is what it's all about. Tell me about the client side. How important is the client?
Well, without the clients, we don't have a business. So I learned early on that my friends are my clients and my clients are my friends. So I always tell people I have an addiction, and it really is the insurance business. And my wife is like, you never take off. A funny scenario is that she wanted to go away for New Year's. And it's okay, we can go away for 3 days. And she was like, it doesn't make any sense. 3 days. Why only 3 days? Because I feel like I have to get back here right away. I know you and I have this conversation all the time, Glenn, but I have this phobia of being away from my people. I just feel I have to be here. If I'm not here, I feel like I'm letting them down, and I feel like I'm letting my clients down. I need to be available. Sometimes maybe more than than maybe is necessary, but
okay. So
that's what it comes down to.
Let me ask you this: how do you feel about winning?
What else is there?
I'll tell you what else there is. There's losing, Bobby. How do you feel about losing?
I never lose. I honestly say that from the bottom of my heart. I never lose for one reason. The only time you lose is when you give up. So I have clients, I lose clients, and I always tread water. So I always feel that at some point, if I lose a client, and I tell my people this all the time because I think it's very instrumental. When you lose a client, you need to lose that client with the same grace and integrity that you brought them on. You need to ship them off the same way and help them re-engage with whomever they're going to move to for whatever their reason is. Because I do feel there is only a matter of time before they come back to me. One of my biggest and best relationships took me 7 years to secure. And there was so many highs and lows in the process. My wife was like, why do you waste your time? I said, I waste my time because that someday will be my client and I will be his go-to. And as we stand today, I probably generate about $1 million a year in revenue off of this guy. And he's one of my dearest friends, and he calls me for everything you can possibly imagine above and beyond, even what we do in the business space.
That's interesting. Where'd you get this work ethic that you have?
You know what? I think it just comes from growing up the way I grew up. You know, being, I always say I was so poor I had 1 O. So I basically, you did one or two things as a kid, right? You pick and choose what you want to do. So I guess fortunately for my entire family, all 4 of us have a work ethic that is very similar, where we don't understand hours, and we just basically do what we have to do to survive.
And when you were sitting around the kitchen table, you guys all talked about becoming the CEO of a 100-person firm doing business in 44 states. Is that basically how dinner went?
No, I wasn't even close to that. Actually, it's ironic because I was probably the worst student and worst school person in my entire family, where my mom was questioning why I was going to go to college and not into the service like my brother. So I always went against the grain on everything I did.
Okay, so let's talk about, so then it wasn't, taught to you at home. You didn't go to school to become a CEO. What's it like sitting in that chair today?
You know what? I can honestly say that I wake up probably every day as scared as I was when I started the business. And, I get anxieties. I wake up in the middle of the night. And I'll tell you, even through what we've just gone through with COVID, more so, I feel that at the end of the day, I'm responsible for each and every person and their families. So when their family has an issue, I have an issue. So my ultimate goal, Glenn, when I was younger, I was big into football. I played football in college, and I wanted to be a coach. And I didn't become a coach for one reason. Teachers just don't really make money, and the coaching to get to the upper level wasn't really something that was even in my vocabulary. So what I do right now is I coach people. I coach people to be successful.
That's great. That is great. So, do you think other people can do what you did? Does it take some special hidden, recipe that somehow lives in you that other people don't have?
I think anybody, I honestly feel everybody can be successful and anybody can do what I did. I always tell people sometimes you got to be smart enough to be dumb enough. So if you're too smart and you think you know everything, you can't learn. My theory is I can learn from everybody on any given day. And then I don't have a losing mentality in my brain. I just really know that I'm never losing. I'm just never, ever, ever losing. I wake up every day and I really, truly feel, why not me? When I meet somebody, why not me? Why aren't they working with me? And I literally go through my day like that, and I'll never lose if I don't give up.
Do you think this is a good profession for a young person coming out of college?
I think it's the worst profession in the world because the kids coming out of college today really don't have the work ethic, in my opinion. And I think under the pandemic, I've watched my younger guys really battle. This industry is a very lucrative business if you can make it past the 3 to 5 year window.
And do you feel what's the American dream to you? Are you living the American dream?
Oh yeah, I live it every day. Now everyone has a different perspective of what it is, but to me, I don't have a material want in the world. I pretty much do whatever I want. And you had made a comment earlier. I am all about giving back. I'm all about. I don't even want the recognition. I don't care. I'd rather give money to the people. I'm not a big charity guy when I'm going to the big, the bigger charities out there. I go back to my high school and I bought all their equipment, their gym equipment, their shoulder pads. I buy everything because that's where I came out of. And if you went to the school, other than the coach, there's not one person that would know this because I don't care about that. I just think that it gave me an opportunity. Going to that school and playing football there gave me the opportunity to graduate. And I don't mind giving back to stuff like that. I don't need to have my name on a list anywhere. I just did another one for a big company down in Houston. I said, I don't need my name on anything. I'm just going to donate the money to you. So I don't want to be involved. I don't need the recognition. So I do feel if you give back and you help others in the ways that I do, I just feel that the universe has a way of giving back.
So I want to say Bobby is very generous. He is living the American dream. And part of that dream is to be good to others. And he imbibes that. And I'm going to leave you with a little story here about Bobby Hotaling. So Bobby and I are at a charity event one night. And my wife sees, and there's a silent auction, right? For those of you that have been at charity events. And you could bid on your cell phone. And my wife sees a painting that she likes. And she tells us. And of course, I'm bidding for that painting. And it's going up and up. And every time I put in a bid, it goes up higher. And I'm like, holy God, man, who the hell is bidding against me for this damn painting? And so at the end of the night, I lose the painting, which I don't like to lose either, folks. And you know what happens? It turns out it was Bobby bidding on the friggin' painting. And he wasn't bidding on it for himself or his wife. He was bidding on it for my wife. And so we did a nice thing for the charity because we were bidding against each other. We probably could have had the thing for $100. Instead, it cost us a few $1,000. And today it's hanging in my home. And my wife was very appreciative. But it was a fun time. And Bobby, I want to thank you and Hotaling Insurance Services for all you've done for our firm. And I want to thank you for spending the last 10, 15 minutes being open and honest with us. And hope to see you face to face one day in person without masks. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Clint.